Hey guys, today we're going to talk about saving our own seeds, which is a great thing to do. You don't have to repurchase new seeds every year, which can be pretty expensive. And you don't have to worry about supply chain shortages or seeds just disappearing like we have sometimes, just varieties just can't be gotten at certain times. But besides all of that, it's really great to continue to keep from your own property because you will develop, if you're keeping the best every year, you're going to develop a plant that works really well in your climate with your soil and your conditions that won't need so much extra care to grow. And you can share and trade with friends, which is of course how it used to always be. Everybody kept their own seeds and just shared with family and friends. So this is what a lot of us do. I love to use old heirloom varieties, but one thing that we need to talk about today is some myths about hybrid plants, because there's a thought process that you can't save seed from a hybrid or it won't reproduce. That's not actually the case. It's still fertile. The best way that I can explain this to you, a hybrid is not a GMO. GMO is genetically modified. You don't want to save seed from that. But a hybrid is still a completely natural plant. The only thing is that it's a combination of two different parent plants. So for example, if you have a lab and you have a cur, they're both dogs, but they can breed and you can have a mixture between a lab and a cur, which I had growing up. It was a great dog. So if I want a dog with that same quality, then I'm always going to breed a lab to a cur. That's what a hybrid is. A hybrid is a plant that has been bred certain plants to get certain qualities. The problem is that when you save seed and you reproduce it, if that cur lab puppy starts having puppies, it may tend to be more like the lab or it may tend to be more like the cur. You don't really know for sure what you're getting. As with heirloom, you know exactly what you're going to get. If you breed a lab with a lab, you know the qualities are going to be the qualities of the lab. So that's why people tend to stick more with heirloom. But if all you have access to is hybrid, then that's fine. You can save seed from that. And I have done it many times where I've saved seed from a plant that did really good as a hybrid. And I kept the best ones and I continue to use them year after year. And I developed my own heirloom variety that was great for my climate and my property, and produced well, and I share with friends. You can do that. If the need is there, or if you have something that you really like, save some seed from it and try each year and see. If you keep the best from every consecutive year, you're going to develop a new variety basically that is good for your climate. So you can save seed from hybrid. Most people want to stick though with heirloom so that they know what they get. But regardless, either way, whatever you do, I'm going to show you today some ways to save seed because it's a little different with different plants, but it's really not difficult. And it's something that I think everyone should do, if nothing else, than to just keep a little stash of seed on hand, because you never know when there is a shortage or a supply chain problem, which we have had in the past. So it's good to know how to save your own seed. I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, saving seed is very easy. From pumpkins, squash, melons, and cucumbites, it's going to pretty much all be the same thing. You cut it open, you get a spoon, and you take out your seeds. Put them in a colander or something that you can rinse them in. And give them a good wash all the way around. Get as much of the pulp off as you can. Pull out these strings. You don't want all of that because that's going to inhibit the drying. Break them loose, get them off of it. Alright, at this point there's a couple of things you can do to dry it. You can put them out in the summer with a breeze if they're protected from birds and mice and critters. You can put them in a dehydrator or at no more than 90 degrees because you don't want to kill the seed. Or you can just lay them out on a paper plate with a paper towel on your bar for a couple of days until they are completely and thoroughly dried back out, which is what we're going to do because I tend to like to show the easiest, simplest method with the least amount of specialized equipment to show you that anyone can do this. So we just have a paper plate, paper towels, kind of spread them out as thin and evenly as possible.
After a day or two, I'm gonna probably come and stir them around, maybe even change the paper towel. Since I have so many, trying to pull out as much of that meat as possible, and they'll dry. Alright, this is another great option too. You can get these most big box stores or online. They're actually used for storing shoes in your closet vertically. But I use them. They're great for drying seeds outside, or leaves for teas, herbs, flowers for potpourri, anything like that. Grains even. Whenever I sprout my grains, sometimes I'll dry them in here. But it's basically just a net mesh. It keeps it up high off the ground so that the mice and critters and other things don't get a hold of them. It's netted, so it is less likely that the birds will get it, even though they can still get in. So if you have a problem with birds, keep an eye on that. I have a cat, so they don't usually come up underneath the porch, so this is an okay spot for it. The wind is blowing pretty strong today, so it's like completely sideways. And they will dry in no time. Like this very inexpensive, simple solution for drying out your seeds, herbs, teas, berries. After about a day in this shoe rack thing, or about 3 days on the paper towel and plate, they're going to be really dry. Look like this. And then you can bottle them, put them up for the next year. Alright, now there are obviously more expensive dehydrators. In fact, my oven functions as a dehydrator, but I want to show you things that are practical and that anybody can afford or get. So if it's wintertime and you really can't put it outside, or you have critters, these little video, I mean this one's old, I've had this one for decades, and it works absolutely great. It actually even tells you what temperature to set for things. But for drying these seeds really doesn't take very long. I have 2 racks on it, just to kind of make sure that the fan isn't blowing directly on them. But anything under 100 degrees, 110, you don't want to go any higher than that because you'll cook the seed. And this will dry it out pretty quick within a few hours. You can just put it on overnight if you want, and they'll be ready to put up by morning. It looks kind of rough, it's old, but it does the job really, really, really well. And I want to say these cost about $30 to $40. Alright, it's the next morning, and after just a few hours on the lowest setting of 95 degrees, these are very dry and ready to be put up for next spring. Alright, so these were dried on the plate, and they're just as dry. I'm just using an old vitamin bottle, put the cotton in it to capture any extra moisture, to store it until next year. So out of 2 native Seminole pumpkins, I ended up with an entire vitamin jar full of seeds, which is more than I'll ever need, so I'll be sharing with friends and family.
So as you can see, it's pretty easy. You're just washing the seed and letting it dry out thoroughly. If it's not totally dried, then it will mold and mildew and be worthless. But if you dry it out, it will store for actually several years, and keep them in a dry, dark place, and they'll be fine. There's actually seeds that have been planted after thousands of years. I know people say they're not good after a year or two. There have been seeds that have been replanted after thousands of years that were found in tombs and pyramids. In fact, they recently brought back the Israeli date, which had been gone since the time of Jesus, because they found some stored in Mossad. So you can keep seed for a long time as long as they stay dry and stay in the dark, relatively dark. They're gonna keep. So it's a great thing to do. Go ahead and learn to keep your own seeds.